Today I'm going to tell you how to conduct a Greek sacrifice. The first thing that you would need to do to conduct a Greek sacrifice is to choose your best outfit. That might involve buying a new outfit or getting your old outfit washed. As you can see, I'm in my best suit for the occasion. Other things that you might want to do in order to look good for the occasion is put a garland around your head and decorate yourself in that manner. That's scene one. Choose your best outfit. The second thing that you need to do is to choose the right animal for the occasion. Animals to be sacrificed could range from a bull, if it was a very special sacrifice, goats and pigs for a sort of medium sacrifice, and the cheapest sacrifice you could offer was really chickens or fish or some form of bird. As you can see here, we've chosen a pig for our sacrifice. What you would also do is make sure that the pig was decorated for the occasion. Our pig is very well decorated, as you can see. Okay, there were 4 key people involved in the procession towards the temple. So number 1, we have a sacrificial basket of grain. We couldn't find any grain for today, so we've gone with sand from the school sand pit. What we have here is the sacrificial knife, as you can see, hidden away so that the animal doesn't get too scared. Number 2 is a water carrier. We're going to need this later on to purify both ourselves and the animal, so someone is going to carry along this water carrier for us towards the temple over there. That's the water carrier. Number 3 is the incense burner. I couldn't find an incense burner, so I've gone for right guard for men. It certainly won't let you down. Let's just have a quick spray of that. Yes, incense for the occasion. And finally, number 4, you have the aulos player, the player who's going to be playing a sort of flute recordery type instrument. I haven't played the recorder for a good 20 years. Let's see what we can do with this. Yeah, I think you get the picture with that one. The next thing that we do is we make our way to the temple. As we get closer to the temple area, you'll realise that there's a temenos area surrounding the temple. This is to delineate which is the sacred area. There's normally a fence around the temple and a gateway to enter. That's where we're going in now with our sacred animal. You can see already just over here that we've set up our altar. Unfortunately, the big key thing that we're missing here is an actual temple. We didn't have the funds to build a Greek temple. We've got our altar just inside the temenos area. Let's go inside. Here's the altar. Once inside the temenos, we need to work out who's involved in the sacrifice and who's not involved, so the gods know who to bless and who not to bless. So what we do is we take a handful of the barley and we scatter it in a circle around the altar, like this. Anyone who's inside this circle of barley is going to be blessed as part of the sacrifice. And anyone who's outside this circle of grain is not going to be involved in the sacrifice. The next stage is we make sure we purify ourselves. I'm standing in my circle of grain and I make sure that I'm purified entirely, so I'm clean for the sacrifice. I take the water, well, someone else hopefully will take the water, and pour it onto the hands. You make sure you wash fully and you're purified, ready for the sacrifice. This is the beginning stage of the sacrifice, and so it's named after the Greek verb to begin, ap-archesthai. The Greeks were very superstitious people. If anything went wrong in the middle of a sacrifice, such as a sneeze, they'd have to start the whole thing again. This goes with the animal as well. The animal was supposed to agree to be sacrificed, and what the Greeks would do to make sure that the animal agreed is just pour a little bit of water over his head, like this. The animal would then, as he fills the water, shake. And the Greeks would interpret this as a sign of agreement from the animal. The next stage is for the priest to pray at the altar. You're giving a present with this sacrifice to the gods, and therefore presumably you want something in return. I'm going to pray to Poseidon now, and there's 3 steps to the prayer. I give his cult names, I tell him what we've done for him, and I ask for a favour in return. So I would raise my hands up into the sky, seeing as Poseidon's supposed to be living on Mount Olympus. I say his cult name's O Poseidon, king of the mighty deep. I then say, we are about to sacrifice this wonderful pig for you. Please would you give us a safe voyage over the seas? After the priest has done his prayer, every single person taking part in the sacrifice from the local community would take a handful of the barley and they would throw it onto the altar. This symbolises their involvement in the sacrifice. Once again, they're in the circle and they're also throwing the barley onto the altar to prove that they're involved in this. This second stage of the sacrifice, the second beginning of the sacrifice, is known as kat-archesthai. At this precise moment, we finally unveil the sacrificial knife from the basket of grain. Here it is. What we're going to do first of all, we're not going to go straight to killing the animal. What we do is we take the animal and we cut off a few tufts of hair, like so. We throw the hair onto the altar, onto the fire, as a sort of little taster to the gods. This is also to make sure that our animal is now purified for the sacrifice. It's seen by having this little tester bit on the fire, it's now seen to be pure and ready for sacrifice. This is the last stage of the beginning rites of the ceremony and is known as ap-archesthai. Finally, we're ready for the sacrifice. After all these stages, we're ready to kill the animal. What we normally do is slit the animal's throat. We turn it upside down, slit its throat and try and splatter blood all over the altar. But today I'm going to go for an untraditional method. I'm going to go for the stab straight through the top, such as this. The animal will then start bleeding. I splatter the blood all over the altar, even down the sides, so that we get the blood everywhere. And this is known from the Greek word haima is for blood, haimassein. We're spreading blood all over the altar. Final stages now of the sacrifice. We start cutting up the animal, and here we go. Let's just try and cut into this. Let's see what we got. And inside we should have what's known in Greek as splanchna, the innards. Let's see what we got. And out come the innards, and what we would have is a local priest to inspect the innards. Here we go. Oh look, what's we got here? The local priest would inspect the innards and make sure that it was considered a successful sacrifice. These inner bits were then roasted, and the local sort of priests and politicians would have those bits. The fattest thigh bits of these would be roasted off for the gods, and any meat left over would be left for the community in general. Once we've cooked all the meat, roasted all the meat, and looked at the splanchna, the inner bits, we actually relay the bones of the animal on the altar, like so, in sort of honour of the animal, to say thank you for being such a well-behaved animal for today, and to honour his life. And that is how to do a Greek sacrifice.